New Division 2 Incursion Broken Rain is nearly here, and if it's anything like previous incursions, turning up with the wrong build can make your runs even harder than what it's supposed to be. So in this video I've got 3 builds which I think is going to be useful for the new incursion. Starting with the first build, which is probably most teams are going to be having, is a strong striker DPS build. So striker is obviously the hardest hitting DPS build that you can have. You normally have high health enemies in boss phases, so having that extra damage is going to be very useful for when it comes to initial damage within the incursion. So for this setup, you're obviously going to want 4-piece striker with the backpack and at the chest ideally. I also run it with the Seska mask, also with the overdogs for the extra damage. These stats you're going to want to aim around 50 to 60% crit chance, and then at least double your crit damage compared to your crit chance. For your main weapon, I recommend using either LMG or a Lexington. You can use the LMG for the amount of bullets you can have obviously in a map, and you can also use LMG with Frenzy to get the extra fire rate and the extra damage across. For the second gun, I recommend using the Sheriff Shotgun, simply for the high amount of damage you can produce with the gun. Burst down the enemies quick when you get into those gunfights. For the skills, I recommend using Reviver Hive. So in previous incursions, Decoy, EMP stickies have been useful. The Paradise Lost incursion, EMP stickies are useful to EMP the turrets, so then you can get the weak points. We don't have no information on what the incursion is going to be like, but it's just things that have been useful in previous incursions, which I think is going to be useful. I think using Striker is going to be a perfect build for clearing enemies, damaging those bosses and potential DPS checks. I recommend having at least 2 players in your group on DPS, just so you can get the most amount of damage you can, and then the other 2 running different roles. So for the second build then, I definitely recommend having a healer. Healer is going to be a crucial role for the new incursion, just keeping your team alive. There's 2 different versions you can run for the healer. You can either run Birdie Backpack version with the Benefactor chest piece, or you can run the other version with the lefty having perfect sledgehammer talent and use a setup backpack with the BTSU gloves, so you can get that extra overcharge for your team's skills. For the skills then, depending on if you're in a full 4-man group, you can either restore a hive, or you can use the booster hive just to boost damage and reload speed even faster. For guns, I recommend using either the lefty if you're using the setup backpack with the BTSU gloves, just so you can get a perfect sledgehammer for when you throwing grenades, you can get the extra damage. Or if you're using the birdie version of the healer build, I recommend using the Scorpio, just so you can give your teammates the extra damage. Also, just a note, make sure you roll every piece on your skill build. So just for a note, make sure you roll everything into repair skills and skill haste on your healer build, just to make sure you have the most amount of heals you can have. So obviously the job for the healer is to keep your team alive, make sure that's your main priority, and then make sure you prioritize and give your team the damage buff so you can do more damage. For the third build I recommend using is a crowd control build. This is just a 4-piece Eclipse protocol build. Make sure you roll status effect across every single piece on this build, just so that you can get the maximum amount of status effect you can. The weapons, I recommend using the Scorpio, just to give your teammates the extra damage, or if you really want to, you can use the left throw grenades. For the skills on the CC, I recommend using Riot Foam and also the Banshee Pulse, just so that you can stun the enemies, keeping them blind, and then your teammates get easy shots onto them. Also with the foam, you can keep them still, making it easy for your DPS to damage them. You could also swap out to Jammer Pulses if you need to, if there's any like drones or anything. We don't have too much information on how the incursion is actually going to be, so you can obviously swap up your builds depending on how the incursion actually plays. So the role of the CC is just to basically make sure you keep the enemies in control and make sure you stop the dangerous targets from reaching your teammates and doing the DPS. Make sure you're the one doing the DPS, not the NPCs. So those are the builds that I recommend for the new incursion. Striker for the maximum damage, Future Initiative for the healing and team support, and also the Eclipse Protocol for crowd control. We still don't know exactly which builds will be the strongest, but we got to experience all the counters first, and then we can adjust the builds from there. Let me know in a comment which build you're planning to use and whether you already have a full team already. For more Division 2 builds, guides, and incursion content, make sure you subscribe. You can also join my Discord to find other players. There's an LFG channel in my Discord server, so if you're wanting to find a group, you can search in there. You can also find me live over on Twitch at It's Rank. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.